This is the Variety Sports Network, created for the fans, by the fans. Now to your host of tonight's show.
And welcome to Talking the Gridiron here, week 8 edition here. I got Brian, the main man, Johnson. I got Jordan Maxson with me back on it. And, of course, we got the return. A little off week. He has a little under the weather. He's back. He's better than ever, and I'm sure Brian Johnson, he's never been better. Jimmy Pilato joins the show as he gets a nice little victory sip in there.
Did anything big happen this week?
Just a little bit there.
Was there something? Trying to think. Who they say gonna beat them Bengals?
Nobody.
Poverty franchise?
Tyler's gonna have to take that one. Tyler did mention that. That's a tough one, Tyler McGurk.
A couple times, not just once. A couple different times. He said it a few times. That's why I wouldn't have taken. He's right. It's a midseason win. I wouldn't have taken it necessarily as a victory lap, but I had to with the way that things were going before. So I'm happy. I'm happy with the way that today went.
Yeah, I feel Brian. He sounded a little different than a couple weeks ago, right? I thought he was falling off the ship there, the Bengal ship. He seems like now all of a sudden the confidence is back.
Oh, all of a sudden, I never lost confidence. I said that I was about to lose confidence.
Oh, don't give me that, man.
Brian, I told you
you're like a 1 out of 10, dude.
If we didn't get to the bye week 3-3,
I
said if we didn't get to the bye week 3-3, and if we ended up crap in the bed like we normally do when we go to San Francisco, then things would turn for the worse. But this was the exact opposite, and everything finally clicked today, and everybody's healthy. So I don't want to hear it anymore. Everybody's healthy. Now they have no excuses. That's the other good thing, is that they've shown it to me. So you're a good enough team now to go out there and dominate the San Francisco 49ers for 3.5 quarters. Let's go. Now it's time to start getting things ready for the end of the season. This is the end of the season push. If you can beat an AFC team, if you can beat an AFC North team, that would be awesome if we can get that done. But as of now, this is the best position this team has been in all season.
And Brian, this is why Jordan. This is why we do Talk of the Gridiron. This is what we can say things after these games. We should be able to vent a little bit, plus minus against their own teams. I know Johnson has a lot to say about the Niners here in a second. I'm sure it's not all positive there, Johnson. So bring it to the table here on Talking the Gridiron. We want your comments. We'll get you on here. We'll feed you. We'll get you where you're talking about with it. So let's bring the topics here. Let's start right with the game that we're all involved with. Games of the day. It really was. Looked at the calendar. It was Bengals at Niners. Brian, it was a big game for you after 2 games losing like that. Bengals, they have a chance to get 3 games now in a row. That's a big road win to go all the way out to San Francisco / Santa Clara, if you know the Bay Area well enough, to get the win out there. They get the job done. Burrow looked, Brian, unreal in the first half. I got to start with you, Johnson. That first half defense, I mean, the Niners don't look recognizable right now on defense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, at this point, it's just like there's no excuses at this point. If I'm Lynch, it's like this is all on Shanahan. You wanted Purdy, you want this defense, you want this defensive coordinator. It's like, I'm not going to go in your locker room and rev your team up anymore. It's on you. You got to do this shit. And it's on Shanahan. I'm tired of this crap from Shanahan. He does this every freaking year. And, it's not on Lynch. It's on Shanahan. I'm going to take CMC out of the way. He didn't do anything either. It's on everybody else, dude. Everybody else is playing like shit, dude.
It seems like they've lost their energy a little bit. Brian, I want to give you even more time here on the Niners here in a second. But like I said, let's let the guys cook a little bit here on the Bengals side. Then I want to get back to the Niners here in a minute, though, because I have more I want to say, and I want to get their takes more tomorrow. But what do you think about the Bengals there, Jimmy? And then we'll go to Jordan here and get his thoughts on it. I mean, Mike, are the Bengals back? Are you feeling this full confidence now back in this team? I mean, this Chase Burrow connection looks really good. And then you tell me what it means to be the Niners team. What does that mean? That has to mean something.
The good things today are that it was progressive, but it wasn't like 100% great because we still had turnovers. Like I was ready to cut Irv Smith going into halftime because that play at the end of the half, that was the exact play that the Chiefs ran against us 2 years ago. That started our run to the Super Bowl. You got to run the ball in that situation, especially because Mixon was having his way with the defense. So there's still plenty of things that went wrong. There's still plenty of stuff that you got to go to the drawing board, but you were able to step on the throat of the best team in the NFC up until 2 weeks ago. And now I know that's 3 in a row. I have faith that this 49ers team is good enough that they're going to bounce back from adversity. This was the matchup that I picked for the Super Bowl. So it's not like I lost total faith in the 49ers. I'm just very glad that the Bengals showed up and did the things that they needed to and had guys in the spots like Trey Hendrickson tweaking in his ankle and then coming back and being a real presence. Sam Hubbard, Mike Hilton, Logan Wilson with the interception, Jermaine Pratt. That's some of the most underrated talent on the defensive side of the ball. Lou Anarumo, I'm glad that we've been able to hide him for the last however many years. But there's no way he doesn't get a head coaching job after this season. The dude is an absolute maniac. He's like Vic Fangio from 3 years ago before he got hired in Denver. Like somebody's going to take a chance on him and turn their franchise around. And it's unfortunate because I want him to stay there forever. Like that was scheme. That was the talent showing. That was overcoming adversity early on, especially. And that was a dominant performance. That's what I was expecting. If, in my head, if we would have played preseason, we might have seen this week 3 instead of week 8. But I'm glad that it's finally here now.
Brian, I'm going to say it again. We had to call him down a couple weeks ago. Let's go to our other Bengals fan, Jordan. We haven't heard from you yet. You were excited about last week. I told you at the end of the show, give Jimmy a little talking to, give him a little boost, and it came through with your W there. 21-23 in the first half. That Chase Burrow connection was just on another level here at times, and even the other guys, Boyd looked good too. But and even that turnover at the half, I was thinking when I was driving and I heard that turnover on the radio, and I was like, "Ooh, this could be a turning point." And then I think that big play was Ayuk dropping it with about 20 seconds left. That would have gave the Niners a chance to get a field goal there, maybe cut it to 1 at halftime. But it kind of things went your way a little bit. But you guys kind of stayed with it on offense, Jordan. So your thoughts there on the win?
My thoughts, it's obviously it's a huge win against the Niners, one of the best teams in the NFC. Take nothing away from the Niners going forward, though. I'll just kind of touch on this real quick. You're getting your left tackle back. You're getting Deebo Samuels back. Brock Purdy is still young to the game, still young to mistakes, and still young to adversity. So this is just a learning curve for him. So don't beat the 49ers up too bad. But as for the Bengals on the other side, offensive line looked like it was clicking. Timing with the receivers on everybody looked great. Joe Mixon looked like he got a little pep in his step. Even the depth behind him, you look at some of the returning for the kick returns, everything just kind of seemed to click. Defensively, that's nothing new. Defense has been carrying the team all year. I think just now a wider audience is seeing Logan Wilson is leading all linebackers in the league in interceptions. Jermaine Pratt is third in interceptions for linebacking. So, you just
Daren knows him well
across the board.
Yes, I do. I know him very well. I was worried about Hendrickson for a second there. I was like, oh boy, this could be a game.
I was thinking it was time to call the Jets and maybe get Carl Lawson back if Hendrickson didn't get back on the field and rework his deal. But
that might be our Brian question of the week here, the trade deadline stuff over here at the. So you guys feel pretty good about it now, but Jimmy, like I said, 3 in a row, that puts you guys in, obviously 3 weeks ago, we were having different conversations here on the show.
The Steelers losing today helps, but it's still such a gauntlet with the Ravens. And now seeing how good the Ravens can be from last week. Now they almost gave it away with the inability of catching an onside kick today against Arizona, but that's still like you put yourself in such a hole that I'm not saying that I'm even confident enough you're going to come back and win the division. You have to prove to me you can beat a team in the AFC first, because we're winless against the AFC and we're winless against the AFC North. You got to win some games in your conference. You got to win some games in your division so that when it comes down to week 18, we have a possibility of getting back. That's what we did last year. We did it, and it took a hellacious effort, and I don't know if we're going to have that same kind of reserve, like that same kind of energy to be able to make it happen 2 years in a row. That's a tough ask of professional athletes who have done a lot and have already put themselves through a lot. And we're already battling injuries. Like, this was the first time I think this team has looked somewhat healthy, but there's still plenty of guys that are still coming back from injury or are not 100%. Burrow today, that the great sign for me was using his legs and calling design quarterback runs.
He was tough to sack today.
He got sacked twice.
But he got out of a few. Like, he got out of one real early in the game, too.
Checked off Nick Bosa. I was surprised that he was able to do that because Nick Bosa's arms are the size of my legs. But,
that's true.
No, just he was confident, and he never had any kind of fear, and was not sliding, scrambling for first downs. That's the Joe Burrow. That's what makes Joe Burrow that upper echelon of quarterback. Is he can extend you drives and give you plays that you wouldn't normally have, and find ways to get the ball in the hands of players that will make plays for him. T. Higgins hadn't done a single thing until today's game.
Yeah, he would
because Burrow finally was able to get him the ball because he was healthy enough.
So let's go back, Brian, to your Niners then, because we were saying like how they were dominant. You guys looked unreal in that game against the Cowboys, right? We were like on there. You were feeling damn good. I can't blame you when me and you did that show. McCaffrey, by the way, does get the 17 straight games with a touchdown. Like you said, you're not blaming him for the loss. So I have what is wrong with the Niners. Like you said, with that loss now, they're behind the Seahawks here. You've been saying that they're not scoring as much right now, but then you look at the defensive end with Wilkes. Shanahan comes out and rips him on Wednesday and in the press, doesn't even hesitate. Wilkes has to do his own conference. It does feel like we have a little division now on this team between offense and defense. That's got to be a huge concern.
I'm ripping on Ayuk at this point. It's like you think you're number one. Debo goes down. Debo goes down. Like you
if
don't.
Debo's in that game goes very
show up.
Yep.
You don't show up for 3 straight games.
Ayuk still put up numbers.
I don't know.
Yeah, but he was open on that one on the bailout. But like that big play at half, those are the ones you got to make. He slipped a little bit, hit him right in the helmet.
That you want to get paid. You want to get paid as a good receiver. It's like these are the games you got to show up for. And you
Brian, it feels like they should abuse Kittle more in these games. Like I felt like they could have gone at him a lot.
A couple times he had a couple drops, but the couple times they went to him today, he was
Brown?
Open.
Where's Ronnie Bell? I mean,
I was like Ronnie Bell from Auburn University.
I mean, Ronnie Bell. I mean, he's supposed to be a really good rookie. It's like he's not even in on the offense. Like I don't know what they're doing right now.
You think Purdy's just taking a step back? Like he did throw those 2 big passes. Like is that a reality? Is he just
step back?
Or Samuel and Williams not there? That's 2 pretty good offensive players that help you, right?
If he regresses, like where do you go from here?
You don't go anywhere
because you shipped out Lance and you put all this investment in Purdy. It's like this is on Shanahan. And if you're Lynch, you're like, you step behind him, you go, hey buddy, this is on you, Shanahan.
You're hitting a panic button too soon.
Calm him down, Jordan. Calm him down a little bit.
Purdy did a couple things and kept that team in the game today.
Purdy made plays with his legs. Purdy extended plays.
He's pissed me off.
With 5 picks in 3 games? Are you kidding me?
He's missing his left tackle. He's got the worst right tackle in the game right now, rated on the starting line. I mean, what a second year guy that's just on the NFL learning curve. It's not time to hit the panic button. I mean, Tom Brady didn't look great coming out in his first 2 years.
Statistically, what did he go like 6?
He went to the Super Bowl, man. He won his first year. So I don't want to hear this Tom Brady stuff.
Now, Brian, we gotta. As Jordan's trying to calm you down over here, but Jordan, I respect that's tough to do it. He's coming off a tough loss here against your Bengals here, and you're wearing your Cincy hat. You probably.
I feel like Tyler should be on here taking this abuse. Like
he does.
Jimmy,
don't you have something you want to read?
Like, throw the messages on there, dude.
Brian, you want to pay up for our wager that we put out online?
But there was an online wager. You might as well do it, Brian. I had to do the 50 push-ups with you. Gosh darn it, over that stupid Steelers. So let's get.
So I just want you to repeat each line after me, okay, Brian? I, Brian Johnson.
I, Brian Johnson.
As a representative of 49ers Nation.
As a representative of 49ers Nation.
Would like to congratulate the franchise that is becoming the future, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Would
like to congratulate the Cincinnati Bengals.
Why don't you just say Burrow's my daddy or something? I'll say
that. And I would also like to acknowledge that the 49ers' success is because Paul Brown mishandled Bill Walsh's personality, thinking that he couldn't be a coach.
There,
the 49ers wouldn't have won nothing if he could have just picked the right guy to be the coach.
Brian Burrow's my daddy. I think that sums it up for you right there.
Burrow
there it is. Boomer. Boomer, where's the Chris Collinsworth poster? Row one brand. We need it. We need to get it signed just for.
I don't got a Chris Collinsworth. I got
Roll.
Boomer. I got
After
Boomer.
Monday, Darren's going to be crying because the lines are going to be in 40-10.
I'm not looking forward to talking about Monday Night Football. I'll tell you that. That'll be a short segment tonight, folks. That will be a short segment tonight. No, but Jimmy, we got Jordan's thoughts about calming him down a little bit. Come on, I do want to spend just a second more on the Niners because 5-0, baby. This team's there. Let's go right there. Then 3 straight. I will say this: the last time the Raiders had any success, 2003. The last time they made the Super Bowl, won the first 4, looked dominant. Lost the next 4, won the next 8. Made the Super Bowl. I'm just saying, like Jordan said, it could be the end of the world, but there is a chance they just need to find that groove again. But they do look lost right now. They do look
like
lost.
I don't know what's with Wilkes. He's too calm.
Bad.
He's too calm. You gotta be like somebody's gotta be getting chewed out on that defense.
Well, who are the last 2 defensive coordinators? Saleh, head coaching job. D'Amico Ryan's head coaching job. That's you know what I mean. I know Wilkes is looked upon as a good coach, and he's held a few jobs, but I mean those are 2 young guys, right? Jimmy with enthusiasm. Jimmy, your thoughts there, real quick on the Niners.
It's just a tough stretch, and unfortunately, with a young quarterback and a guy that you didn't have a lot of starting experience before coming into the season, you didn't know how low or how high things could go. I think that you have to deal with the fact that he's young, he's trying to make plays, which I don't think you can take away from him. And I agree with Jordan. Like, he was pissing me off in the first half. Like, he's 210 pounds. Somebody knock him out so he stops running, please. Somebody just hit him once because he's not even sliding. But no, he continued to break contain. He was extending plays and getting the ball off. If he would have continued to go to like Kittle, and I feel like other guys that were open, if he could look in different places, he's got to be able to get to more than one read, is the unfortunate truth. So now the question becomes, did Shanahan bet on the wrong horse? I'm not going to say I agree that we shouldn't just say that the 49ers are trash and they're not going to make the playoffs now. I still think that they're probably going to be in the conversation of winning this division. But Shanahan now has to answer for the fact that you put your faith in Brock Purdy. So let's get him where he needs to be. Get him to be able to read a defense. Go from one read to the other. Don't extend plays and then just check it down. Don't become Derek Carr. That's not what we want here.
Check down. Check down Carr again to him. Brian, I think that your last thoughts on the Niners here.
Their defense sucks balls.
I was so nervous about that defense. Fred Warner scares the shit out of me.
Bosa got there, but to Burrow's credit, he got rid of the ball quick today. He was with it. I thought that was a good conversation. This was the game of the day. We looked back into it. I know it didn't turn out to be the closest game, but it was going to have the most impact. Brian, I will just say this with the Niners. Debo is obviously important, right? He's missed 3 games. They're 0-3 without him.
Yeah, I mean, you. This was your opportunity, and you failed.
He let him down, Johnson. I like it. Niners Nation, hot take of the week. You blew it. Game of the day. Let's get this baby moving along here. Geno Smith, let's go with it. They throw the late touchdown. They beat the Browns there in your AFC North there, guys. 24-20. PJ Walker continues to look like he has more life than Watson ever gives the Browns, though. How serious should we start taking the gum chewing? Pete Carroll's. That's what I have. Cleveland continues to play tough, though. What do we got here? What do you guys think about the Seahawks? Kind of like right with it. Jimmy, what's your thoughts on the Seahawks there?
I feel like they're going to be in the playoffs again because Geno, he's not taking that huge step back that people were expecting. He is just what we all know that he is. He's been around long enough that he's not going to make the big mistake. He may sometimes, like he has the random week where he makes a lot of plays and wins you games. I don't think that he's going to lose you games. So as long as you can play Pete Carroll style football, have a good running game, be able to get it to your receivers every now and then, and make 1 or 2 plays that extend and get you points that you weren't expecting. That's what Geno Smith needs to do, and he can do that. He doesn't have to be Tom Brady because when Russell Wilson won with Seattle and Pete Carroll's system, he wasn't Tom Brady. It was built off of that Marshawn Lynch running game, that defense. The defense plays very well in Seattle. That was a very tough win that the Bengals had to come by against that team. They're going to be in the playoffs. They're going to have the possibility of upsetting somebody in the first round, and I wouldn't be surprised seeing Seattle playing in the divisional round of the playoffs this year.
Jordan, do you think they win this division? Is there are we 5-2? They lead it right now. Or that's what I'm saying. Are we seriously considering this team a division winner?
I think it's a high possibility. I mean, they have an outstanding defense. They have an outstanding secondary that gives up some of the fewest yards in the league comparatively. both young corners. You look at everything they've got on offense. They've reloaded. Jackson Smith and Jimba's finding his groove. He's got 2 touchdowns in 2 weeks. Gino, like you said, is he's a little bit more above a game manager. They're not asking him to do too much, and he doesn't make too many mistakes. And, like you get that defense rolling and that run game established. And honestly, yeah, they have a real chance to compete and win that division and even be in a divisional round.
Brian, I was looking at the schedule with these teams. I find this fascinating with it because they're division winners. It's going to cut. So they play on.
I don't have any confidence in the Niners right now. So yeah, I'm saying Seattle could win this division.
Brian, listen to this though. They play Thursday, November 23rd, right on Thanksgiving, and then Then you guys play at. You play at Seattle on November 23rd. Then you go at Philadelphia December 3rd, and then you got to play Seattle again on December 10th. So 3 straight weeks.
That schedule is so funky this year. I hate the 2 divisional games within a month. Makes no sense.
Jacksonville after the bye week. That's not easy.
That's weird to play them back to back like that. Guys, I still think the Browns are playing tough there. I think they're like showing a little. PJ Walker to me is like actually putting up a fight that he maybe should be. I know Watson's going to play, but I know he wasn't great.
Is he going to play?
I don't know. Probably not. Well, we know.
I guess his shoulder's really messed up,
and too bad he lost his privileges to the massage therapy room. If his shoulder's bugging him, that's unfortunate.
Let me ask you guys this: Do the Browns make a trade for a quarterback before Tuesday's deadline?
Who? They all got hurt.
Yeah,
Russell Wilson. Well, they need $500 million on their quarterbacks.
You don't want Desmond. Ritter.
Realistically, you look at Carolina could trade Andy Dalton. You look at the Saints could trade Jameis Winston if they wanted to go in on draft.
That one I could see, but Andy Dalton, oh man, I don't know about Big Andy.
Yeah, he's got a 300-yard game this year, where his passer rating was 98.
His hair would go so well with those helmets.
You guys got to admit that was a bust on your part. That was a bust.
Was it a bust? We were in the playoffs for a few years.
Come on.
Yeah, he never really got you guys over the top. Though. He was a Derek Carr.
We weren't ready to go over the top then.
No, well, I mean, who was your receivers with him?
AJ Green
and TJ. Who's your mama?
No, he was before.
Hushmanzada was never there for Dalton.
He was Palmer, right?
It was Marvelous Marvin, AJ Green, and Mohamed Sanu were the big 3.
Yeah. Sanu, that was the other guy that was on your team.
The Sanu canoe.
So just a weird part of the schedule there with it, but I feel like the Seahawks, Brian, you guys have opened the door for them to steal this division. That's all I'm saying. You guys have now you've opened the door. It was 5-0, looking like it was a lock. It's definitely not that right now.
0. That's why I have confidence in the Niners right now.
We'll give the Seahawks have a 100% chance of winning it. That's where we're at right now with it. All right, hey, I want to get to it. Best of the rest here. Rookies, Will Levis throws 4 touchdowns. Was not if you had that in your big goes.
I mean, come on, Daren. You ripped on this kid and you said don't give him a chance. And look at him.
You sent me these videos. You sent me these videos this summer of throwing at nets, and he was missing by like 5,000 feet. I lost all. I should be
telling me you weren't an avid follower of Kentucky college football. You haven't seen Will Levis actually playing a game.
No,
because I haven't either. I never actually watched a Kentucky game from start to finish. So.
Who was I did watch some Kentucky games when they had the big quarterback for the lefty, but I did watch
basketball games, right? No, the basketball.
Well, there was a football guy, the hefty lefty. He played for the Giants back in the day.
Jared Lorenzen.
That's the guy, yeah. I did watch some of those Kentucky games and the one they lost to LSU on the Hail Mary. All right, so yeah, he throws 4 touchdowns. Bryce Young gets his first win against the Texans in a matchup of rookies there. That was a weird good game in some way. It just kind of was an odd game, that first one. Jordan, what do you kind of make of the couple of rookies here kind of getting their first win here? You got Levi is getting it for the Titans, 4 touchdowns, makes Hopkins kind of unlocks him maybe a little bit. What are your thoughts there?
I myself did watch Levis play when he was at UK. So I'm not totally shocked, but from management to make him inactive to, hey, you're my day one. So I kind of dropped my jaw when I read the news, and I even kind of discussed it. I discussed it this morning on Sunday morning tailgate with Doug Stevens on this network. And, we kind of touched on it, and I didn't have any confidence in him all this morning. So I was absolutely blown away that he played efficiently, blown away that he threw for 4 touchdowns and got the win. Because if you look at the Titans organization and the trades they made earlier in the week, it just like they took all their chips and kind of cashed out. But yeah, I'm more surprised with that win than the Carolina win.
Doug, what do you got? Or Doug, you made me think about Doug because I was doing the show with him last night on basketball as well. Jimmy, what do you got for the rookies there?
Doug and I have some issues to address. I didn't think that the Titans were going to win. I thought Desmond Ridder figured something out, and I picked Tennessee. I picked Atlanta because it was at home. I don't know what they're going to do, but I feel like tomorrow is going to be a big day for Atlanta. Tomorrow is a big decision day, and they're going to have to figure out either you're making some move because you have plenty of talent on both sides of the ball. You make a move for a quarterback. If you can get somebody besides Desmond Ridder in there, is it going to make that much of a difference? And I've heard opinions both sides. Dan Orlovsky was just on a show that I listened to, and last week he said, no, there's probably not anybody. Like he can do good things, but it's just not consistent enough. It's the reason why he probably played at Cincinnati and not a bigger school. So unfortunately, I'm interested to see what they do, but I did not see this coming from Tennessee, and I did not see Will Levis being that much of an upgrade because they haven't scored more than – I mean, they kicked the shit out of the Bengals, but other than that, Tennessee hasn't looked like anything all season.
What do we think there, Brian, of John, Mike, out of your Falcon mind? We obviously shot you guys a lot on this podcast, so we can get you out of here shortly, but you can see it, right? We believe in Ridder just because we kind of have to. Dang it, he kind of sucks up and down, and now I feel like he's not going to get the job back. I feel like Heineke I feel like he's always been the better quarterback there. I mean, I never hated him when he was with Washington. Brian, is it time for the Falcons to put Ridder to bed?
Yeah, I think it's time for them to bench him, and I definitely think it's time for the Titans to get no more Tannehill. No. You got to go with Will Levis.
Did you see the deep balls he was throwing? Those are like I had it up on the screen. That's a legit deep ball. That's not like
when is Tannehill overthrown that kind of ball?
He doesn't. He's stiffing the hips, right? That's what this.
Tannehill was a receiver. If we're being 100% fair with him, he should have been a receiver.
We should have been a receiver. Tannehill. He's a tight end. There's still time, Brian. There's still time. You can do it.
Where's Tyler right now? I want to.
He's here. He's
he talks so much.
That's why he can't do the show. It's family
night. Did Bijan play, or did they leave him on the bench again and piss everybody off? I honestly didn't pay attention to anything other than the Bengals today.
John, I'm not going to show this highlight again of Will Levis. I did it twice. I'm not going to do it again. I won't rub it in your face there for you with it. What's he got? I just charted the first half offense. It was terrible all the way around. Run game was shit. Blocking was shit. Dead was shit. And yeah, the blown coverages we haven't seen all year from the defense. Yeah, that's what's happening. Hopkins, though, like I said, you give him a little life there. That's what happens. Bryce Young on the Panthers doesn't really mean much from a win standpoint, but you don't really want to go 0-16 as a rookie quarterback either. So it's nice to get that win, especially over C.J. Stroud. I felt like it had to be a little personal, right? Like I can't, I don't know. I would think that would mean something. For me,
man, that was a lucky win, man.
It was a lucky win.
I still say CJ Stroud is on the trajectory to have the better career with the season that they're having, and everybody says so many good things about CJ Stroud. It's pretty insane because that's not normally what you hear about Ohio State quarterbacks. Ohio State quarterbacks normally don't adjust to the NFL level well, so it's interesting to see. And he was voted a captain too. So I still say, yeah, you got the win today. No, it's so hard. It's so hard to go 17-0. It's just as hard as go 0-17. So you're gonna win one game, and this happened to be the one. I mean, Houston wasn't expected to do much at the beginning of the season, anyways. They've been overperforming all year.
They haven't. No, that's a good point. Real quick, back on the Falcons, I did want to note this because we talked about it last week a little bit, guys. Jordan, it was Bijan. He did play today. Hello, fantasy fans. He was there. He did. I mean, listen to his numbers real quick. This is how scary he could be, though. 11 carries, 62 yards, 5.6 average. Got the 25 long. You kind of wonder why only the 11 carries. Maybe he has.
I don't want that guy with the ball in his hands.
I just don't understand. Like, 11 carries. I mean, you better be really hurt to only give this guy 11 carries. I mean, I know you were down, but that's a good average there with it. So he's a scary guy. You got to get him the ball more than he was today in a game like that. I mean, Jimmy, you coach football, right? You got to get your best player the ball more than that. That's not good football right there.
If you don't do it early, then you can't do it late, and that's the unfortunate truth.
Okay, hold on. I got to get this in from John here. All that said, I still see Des starting next week. Arthur said he wasn't replaced due to performance. Being cautious with concussion, he said. John, I will say this though, I do think, I knew maybe you could give me more insight because I know you guys really. Heineke does feel like that backup that could easily steal this job, though. Just like he feels like he's kind of made that run, like how like the offensive line.
He's done it before.
Like this. Exactly. And
he's done it before.
Once you win the offensive line a little bit, and you start to win a couple of receivers. Like it takes time. We'll see what happens with it. All I know is this: he's on a short leash. Like if he doesn't play well, he's getting released, and he's fumbling the ball at a ridiculous rate.
You know who it is? It's Eddie Martell and Shane Falco, and Heineke is Shane Falco. Put him in. He's got heart. He's got something here. Desmond Ridder doesn't look like he's got any heart left. He's going for give up slides. He's fumbling the ball as many times as possible. John, I hope you've seen that movie. I'm hoping I'm making you feel a little bit better. Just put in Shane Falco. That's all you got to do.
Jimmy, we need to do a rewatchable on that movie. That would be a good.
I have to be honest.
I would sit there and watch that with everybody.
Got me more for fantasy this week than he normally does. 14 points.
Yeah, last week was pathetic. That was a one up.
I think it's more Jamie Foxx any given Sunday.
It's also a good one. Now we're starting a new podcast on Variety Sports where we just watch old football movies and talk shit while we do it.
Dude, that would be fun. What was the one I was watching with my son last night? It's the Eagles guy with Mark Wahlberg. We were watching that one.
Invincible.
Yeah, we were watching that one. That's a good one. I don't mind that one a little bit once in a while.
Vince Papale. I went to a football camp with Vince Papale's grandson. And he showed up one day at the camp, and everybody was like, "Oh shit! Oh, he didn't say anything. He was just there to watch his kid. It wasn't like he was there to speak or anything."
I like how they have guys in the movies just like sitting at the set. And I gotta be real. That's when sports was different back then too. Like I was talking this like I always love that about old school sports. Like it meant more to a community because you're like listening around a radio or like you understand like it's just different when you can get it at that type of level. It changes some of the drama behind it. And I'm a big radio person because I believe in the imagination of sports. So maybe that was some of like football or basketball. It kind of does make it a little bit different when you have that kind of connection with it there.
You're talking to a guy who broadcasted wrestling on the radio in college. I love it.
What a move! So the radio, you gotta.
I figured it out. That's all I can tell you. I figured out how to make it interesting.
John Cena. No, I'm just kidding. That's my son, right? Cena.
Good God Almighty! He jumped off the top of the cage.
My son Xavier in second grade is Cena for Halloween this year. He plays soccer, and the last week he got the Halloween. It has the Cena.
That is insane, Aaron. Because I went as John Cena like 20 years ago.
Shirt off? That much of confidence?
Yeah, probably.
Off? Your shirt was off. My goodness, we like that.
Well, I didn't have shirt off. I had the puffy muscle suit, but I had the puffy muscle suit, a John Cena shirt, a visor flipped upside down. And my dad had somebody at his office that had a padlock chain that I wore around. It was ridiculous. That's crazy that somebody's been able to dress up as John Cena for the last 20 years.
Yeah, I know. My son's got the shorts going tomorrow with it, or on Tuesday with him. What's the other guy, Brian, that I like? That he's got the song. He's got the long hair. I like the little introduction he's got. That I know this. He jumps off
Roman Reigns.
Yeah, not Roman Reigns. He's skinnier. He does all the high dive stuff.
Seth Rollins.
AJ Styles.
Seth Rollins. That's the guy right there. Yeah, my son loves it. Little shout out there to the wrestling community there. All right,
the nerds? The nerds are here.
The nerds are here. Hello, wake up. Yeah. All right, back to talking the grid. Best of the rest.
The guy that hit Roman Reigns in the back with a chair.
My favorite part.
Dude, that was 10 years ago.
I was a senior in high school. I was so distraught because my brothers and I were like, "We're the Shield," and then all of a sudden, that's the first one that we watched together. I was like, "Oh."
My favorite part was always the announcer. It's sick. Oh my god, it's sick.
How could you do that? How could you? I think back to South Park. He took a germ.
I would definitely say Seth Rollins after he did that was probably one of the best heels I've ever seen.
He was good after that. I'll give you that.
Because he had like a bleach streak down his hair, and it was just
how did he get the ketchup on there, Brian? I don't understand how he got it. No, just kidding. Hey, Jaguars. Speaking about blood, they smell of blood out right now. They're 6-2 right now. They got the Steelers. Rev, Your Steelers. I know you work on Sundays. I know you got it. One of these will around the holidays. Hoping you'll be able to join us again. He was awesome last year on the show. Steelers guy with it. Jimmy, the Jaguars, 6-2. They play the Niners next after the Niners bye. Is that a scary game for the Jags? How serious are we starting to take this Jags team? That's my question to you guys. How legit is this Jags team?
This is one of their tougher games, but their schedule is so favorable that this Jaguars team is on the right trajectory. And in Houston, losing the last few weeks helps them out even more. But the Trevor Lawrence, ETN, all of these young players that they've brought in to be the next wave of Jacksonville Jaguars, plus Doug Peterson, have started to meld together. And it's starting to look like it is legit. I think that game against the 49ers, kind of like what I said for the Bengals, this is your litmus test because we know the 49ers are a good team and they've been in high-pressure situations. The Jaguars haven't been. So if you can play really well, beat a team in that situation, then it's like, okay, this is where we're going to be. This is where you guys have proven yourselves to be taken seriously. So I think that's going to be an interesting one for them.
Fan, I'd hit the panic button if we lose to the Jags.
I would too. I would too. The Steelers always lose to the Jaguars. So as much as I hate the Steelers, I'm sure all their fans are like, you know what? It's really not that big of a deal. We're just gonna go down to the sports bar. We're gonna go down to the local sports bar. We're gonna figure this thing out. Pickett will be back soon.
Jimmy, I think they're going to start talking British. Most of the Jaguars fans here shortly. They're going to start making all those. I actually did this thing at Sunday school this morning. This guy, this kid in third grade, was doing the whole time. I was like, he was doing a British accent. I was like, all right, I dig it. He's acting. I'm good with it. I was like, he held character all hour and 20 minutes. I was impressed. I'd never met him in my life, but I was impressed with it. I got the Sunday score here down below. Chargers 27-7. Gentlemen, people out there, if you're watching that game, we got to give you better entertainment than that. I'm telling you, tune in to Talking the Gridiron. We will definitely give you better entertainment than this pathetic effort right now. If you're watching Warriors Rockets, I'd at least give you a little bit more respect. Jordan there, Jaguars, how legit is this Jags team in your opinion?
I'd say let's make them real legit. I mean, you look at the talent on their roster.
Real legit.
You look at Kirk. You look at the trade they made to bring Ridley in, ETN. I mean, they're loaded from top to bottom offensively. I think there's no reason. I don't think they're underperforming. I don't think they're overperforming by any stretch yet. But I think you got to take them seriously. They're definitely going to be a round one playoff team. Whether they win or not, I'm not as confident of them moving forward past the first round. But definitely, they're in a favorable division. They're loaded top to bottom. Their health isn't that bad right now on both defense and offense. So yeah, I'd say they're here to make a run.
The reason I like them is because they've won kind of ugly this year so far too. That's the reason I also like them. As they're 6-2 and they've won ugly a little bit. Johnson, Broncos stunned the Chiefs. My goodness, what happened here, Johnson? I mean, the Chiefs, we gotta love it. We gotta love it. And I like the Broncos. I'll give you a little credit here once in a while. Playing the Taylor Swift "Shake It Off" at the end. I'll give you a little round of applause for that with that at the end of the game. So I got to shout that out. Johnson, Chiefs lose. The first loss under Taylor Swift. This could be a big moment in the season. We'll see what happens. What do you got?
I thought they were going to kind of play it dramatic, have Taylor Swift slap Kelsey in the locker room or something.
I can't be with a loser.
Because we know how real that relationship is.
Yeah, I know. Jimmy's got the music there.
I got a 15-hour car ride coming up with a Swiftie, so I have a feeling I'm going to be listening to a lot of that music.
Oh, you got 15 hours to kill, my friend. I'm sure she has had a concert movie. Did you see that with her?
Not yet. I haven't been subjugated to that yet.
Well, hold on. You rolled your eyes like that's on the
I know. She's at work right now, so she's not watching live. But when she does see this, then I'm going to be in trouble.
Well,
I am a little concerned with Chiefs offense. It's just if you can take out the get good cornerbacks and you take away Kelsey, it's like what else can they do?
I always feel like this. Like if this was like a Bill Belichick defense, like back in its prime, they would just double them, and then I feel like the receivers would have a hard time at times, like Manning did with the Colts. Jordan, what's your thoughts on it? And then we'll go to the hometown guy here.
I wish I had the sound bite so I could play it. And I said it this morning on Sunday morning tailgate. This was my upset of the week.
Yeah, I saw that. Yep.
Between Mahomes not feeling good, the weather, the Broncos coming off a big win, and I've been saying it all year. Patrick Mahomes had more interceptions going into this game than Russell Wilson did, and they haven't been playing that efficiently if you look at the overall scheme of things. And one or two calls, I've been saying this all season, one or two calls against the Jets and some other games, they're easily a 3-loss team. I mean, they're not as powerful as they used to be. Mahomes is still great. Kelsey's unbelievable, but as overall as a team, they're not what we're used to seeing. So no, I was not immediately shocked over this.
Jimmy, the floor is yours, Mr. Denver.
The first time since Gary Kubiak was the head coach, Peyton Manning was a starting quarterback, the Broncos finally beat the Chiefs. That's the first time Patrick Mahomes has ever lost to the Denver Broncos.
Crazy.
I had a feeling. I did say on our show on Thursday when we went live that the Broncos normally do play the Chiefs pretty well at home, and it was going to be cold. With my little guys, we won our league championship this week, but we spent all Friday and all pregame Saturday like, it's cold. You're going to have to deal with it. And I'm sure that they probably said that, but just there was a lot of other stuff going on with the Chiefs, and they have extra games to work with. I think they're 2 games ahead. Now they're 1 game ahead of the next best team in the AFC. So as much as you don't want to lose these divisional games, 2 divisional games against the same team within a month is a little ridiculous, in my opinion. And they ran into that today. And the Broncos aren't a team. They're coached better now to where they're not going to make the stupid mistakes. Melvin Gordon's not going to fumble, and you're not going to return it for a touchdown that's going to keep you in the game. You're just going to be smoked out.
Is Nico fired up about the Broncos after this, or is this just like, it's a one?
We get a Victory Monday podcast. We're going tomorrow, Victory Monday podcast, and we're dressing up. So it's Victory Monday. We're doing our picks, and then we're just talking about Halloween because I'm going to my trip on Thursday when we normally release. So we're excited. We didn't think that we'd get a Victory Monday podcast where both our teams won, but here we are. Week 8. It only took 2 months.
I got to shout out my guy here, Chris over here at New York, CP New York Sports Network. Check him out. He does a lot of good stuff. Has the Giants on there. Giants lost hurt my soul. Chris, this is like what a good pod. I'm going to keep you engaged here. I want to go right to this. I guess it's my oh yeah segment, but we're going to go back to the other one. But I got to keep you with it since you're on with me. You can give me the thoughts on it, gentlemen. The Jets stunned the Giants. I mean, a terrible loss for the Giants. I mean, just like I put a fork in me. Just as a fan, I can see where Chris is going off right now. Like they lose 13-10 in maybe one of the uglier games of the year. The Jets improved to 4-3. Giants fall to 2-5. Let's stay with his Giants. And Jimmy, sorry, you did pick them to go to that. I'm not going to finish the sentence. But with that said, you called it earlier after that. Chris is on. What do you got for Chris here? He's a Giants fan through and through. Barkley looked better today on 33 carries, but good night.
They just refuse to admit that they need to run their quarterback, and that's a big part of their offensive game plan. They have to have the design quarterback runs, and then Saquon can get loose and they can start doing their offense off of that. But they haven't been able to accept that this year. So right now, the lack of weapons that they have because of the salary cap issues, the lack of admitting who they are as a team, I think that the Giants are going to continue to struggle, and the Jets are just biding their time. Because Aaron Rodgers shouldn't be able to walk at this point, and he's able to throw gingerly on his legs. So as long as they can continue to keep their head above water, and I think Zach Wilson's embracing that role. He wants Aaron Rodgers to come back this season because if he can just keep their head above water and Aaron Rodgers comes back, all the pressure gets taken off of him.
Do we trade Barkley Williams? Do we stick it out for the season? I can't believe Graham Gano. Appreciate Mr. Primetime checking in here. He's a Giants fan out. I believe Detroit there. Correct me if I'm wrong, sir. But that's where you're out as well there. Giants lost, hurt my soul. Gosh, that was where I was at last week with the Raiders. I feel you guys on this part of it as well. Giants fans, I mean, I know your brother's a Jets fan there, Jimmy, but like this is not a game, even if he's like, great win. Like even Jets players were like, we suck.
It's not good. It's not great.
They were like, even Jets
like you're excited.
But the NFL is not
like
college, man.
Kill
It doesn't matter how you do it.
Go ahead, Jordan. What did you say there?
I was just saying the NFL is not NCAA. There's no style points. A win's a win. It goes in the column.
That's true. Do they trade Barkley or Williams, Brian?
Probably not. I think they already came out and said that Barkley's not going to get traded. So
This is a Giants fan. Any win for the Jets is a bonus. That's a Giants fan. Tuning in there for that part of the segment. Barkley, I don't see him getting traded. Williams, I don't see him either. They're just too good players to trade him. I just think it's one of those seasons where we've talked about where, for the Giants standpoint, you lost you paid a quarterback that's just not worth that money. Yeah, that's what happened, and you're paying for it right now. The Jets 4-3. If anything, this just gives Wilson a little bit better chance to have a little bit better career, if anything else. I don't really think it means anything for them actually going forward in the season. Like, maybe they get a 7 seed, but you're not doing anything with Zach Wilson. It's not going to ever happen. I'm sorry. You guys all feel the same way, right? Or am I wrong? Somebody telling me they believe him differently.
I'm 50-50 on him. You look at the way he played against the Chiefs. I mean, there are times he has gorgeous passes, and there are times he makes boneheaded plays. It's the good, the bad, the ugly in every game. So it just depends what Zach Wilson shows up on the playoff game if and when they make it.
Chris, just curious if you did go to this game as well. He says Adoree is gone. Williams should be gone if they can find a bag of chips for him.
How crazy would this be a playoff game? Wild card round. They play against the Chiefs, and it's Aaron Rodgers, and you got the Swifties in the crowd, and he called basically Kelsey Pfizer boy.
Yeah. Was it like Barry Bonds when he played in San Diego? They're throwing syringes on the field. Oh my God. That's right. I like it. Drake May look like he would look good in a uniform.
You imagine, like, before the game, like, Rodgers going up to shake Kelsey's hand, like he called him Pfizer boy.
I would love that if that was it. Gentlemen, it's been a fun show so far here on Talk of the Gridiron. We're going a little longer than usual, but we like that when we get comments in on the show. We'll keep it going for people on this show, or we're willing to. That's what we love here. Giants Nation tuned in here a little bit, Mr. Primetime. We appreciate that. It's Chris out in New York. Appreciate that. Best of luck with your podcast as you continue the journey with that as well. We got to get him on here with one of these shows for sure. He's a great guy. He does a really good job. So I got to get him on here with it. All right. Hey, we're going to go from that game, which was kind of brutal a little bit to watch that moment a little bit. We have that with real quick here with it, my question of the week. Who is the best quarterback in the NFC presented by Row One Brand? Is it Jalen Hurts? Is he the best quarterback now in the NFC, Jimmy?
They've seemed to figure out what he's able to bring to the table and put him in positions to win. The fact that they had to come back, it goes back to the 2 divisional games within the month against the same team. I don't know if you can say he's out and out the best quarterback in the NFC, but right now he's playing the best and he's getting the most out of his team around him, and he's benefiting from having a really good defense. But I wouldn't necessarily say he's like wowing you with quarterback play.
Yeah, shout out Chris real quick. Appreciate your fellas covering this tough loss. Had to come through and support, signing off, but keep doing your thing. We love to get you on here once in a while, Chris. Appreciate you tuning in, like we said on it. Yeah, that's a good call. I agree with that with Hurts with the Jimmy. Real quick, I have it at the bottom of the line. My other question of the week is a bonus one. Who's the best old school jersey in the NFL?
Oilers.
And they busted it out tonight. I was curious what you go.
It reminds me of Warren Moon.
Yeah, every time you see that, it's good old Warren Moon days.
Earl Campbell. Earl.
Yep. Can't forget Earl too. And I remember Eddie George, he played with him that one time against the Raiders that last year in Nashville. They kind of had it, but it had some weird little difference on the helmet there with it. Jared Goff, a little NorCal shout out here, Nevada, 40 miles away up north. Not going to disagree with that one. Have an autograph from him.
I feel like yelling at God right now. 6 years of Jimmy, and you're going to give me another Jimmy. Don't do this to me. Don't.
Brian, 3 weeks ago we were saying he could be the best, and now you're saying he could be Jimmy Garoppolo. What's going on here?
Well, my pick before the injury, Kirk Cousins was playing out of his mind the last 2 weeks.
Best quarterback. They
said it's an ankle injury that looked like an Achilles popping underneath the ankle. So
yeah,
not good for him on there.
I read it was officially an Achilles tendon tear. He's out.
That's exactly what it looked like. So it makes sense. But the fact that they tried to cover it up with ankle injury says a lot about what the NFL is willing to make you play through.
That's a good point.
I thought Brock Purdy, that was the fastest I've ever seen anybody clear concussion protocol in the last 3 years.
Maybe that's what it was today, Brian. Maybe he was still concussed. He was seeing 4 different receivers.
he would see too many guys. I think the Seahawks busted out some pretty good jerseys today. Just to say, I thought the old school jerseys of the Seahawks was bad as well. It's the Raiders. We all know that. That's the answer to that old school jersey question.
Have they ever changed their jersey enough to be considered old school? They still haven't changed their jersey.
The 60s is a little different, but it hasn't changed for 50 years. I'll give you that. It hasn't been there. I think the Broncos older ones I kind of liked some of those as well. The Giants old school one I kind of liked, but I'll say also the Eagles one isn't bad as well.
I do like the Eagles old school.
Your Bengals ones are one of my favorite ones as well. The black, when you guys wear the black pants with the black shirt, that's like definitely one of it. Kirk is my most underrated quarterback of all time. He looked really good on Monday Night Football. Like he got the ball out. He looked like clean. Brian, now we wish you played the Vikings. I bet you wish you played the Vikings now. You'd have a chance to beat them a little bit. But you guys, we talked about it. News and notes here. They get the victory. The Vikings. Can we all say this? It feels like season over. Even though they go to 4-4 with this win, like it feels like season over, right? Can we just make it a little quick, Brian? What do you think? Season over? Yes or no?
Yeah, I think we need to, scratch a line off there.
We'll get to that. How about the Jordan Love over? What happened to him now? That kind of went that bubble bursted real quick there, huh, Jordan?
Yeah, I think the NFL stands for not for long league, and
yep.
You saw the good from Jordan Love, and now I think the league's got some film on him. You see some basic play. And I think he'll get better, but same thing I was saying to Brock Purdy. It's such a learning curve in this league, and he's got to either make the adjustments or crumble under the pressure. So I'm not ready to write off Jordan Love's career. I think Green Bay's done for the season, but Jordan Love moving forward, only time will tell if he gets better or not.
Save that energy for one of my favorite segments at the Talk of the Gridiron here. Jimmy, next news and note here. I'm going to go to you at AFC North guy. Gus Edwards runs for 3 touchdowns. Ravens defense keys 31-24 win over the Cardinals. The Bills beat the Bucks Thursday, kind of ugly a little bit, I would say. I got to ask you, you trust the Ravens or the Bills more to make the Super Bowl? It kind of, to me, those teams are kind of feel even a little bit in that regard.
The Bills depends on what they do next Sunday against the Bengals in primetime, because they haven't had good success in the last few times that it's been big games against Bengals. So if they come out and they actually look like
right now? Come on, I'm asking.
No, right now, no. The Ravens are the better team. They've shown that they have the higher ceiling, and they've played the better games so far this season more consistently. So the Ravens are better at this point in the season. But if the Bills can look really good against Bengals Sunday night and bring back that primetime curse that I'm so familiar with as a Bengals fan, then it'll be a different story. But right now, the Ravens are the better team.
I would agree with that real quick here. Lions still need to worry about the Vikes. Have to play them twice. Could play spoiler. Depends if the 5th-round quarterback from BYU, a little small. See if he can get the job done there for the Vikings.
I know there was the time where Chris Collinsworth, he said the pen slipped out of his hand, but I think he meant to throw it at the Ravens fan. And then he said he wanted it back during the live broadcast. It was like, no, that's not going to happen.
He didn't want any of that back, Johnson. He knew what he said. He knew what he said it with it. What do you think there, Jordan?
On which one? I'm sorry.
Do you trust the Ravens or Bills more?
Honestly, seeing that the Ravens kind of snook one out from Cincinnati when Joe Burrow wasn't healthy, I trust the Bills more. Josh Allen has a higher ceiling as a passer. That offense is more explosive on the outside with their weapons. And if Von Miller can get back to himself here now going to the second half of the season, I honestly trust the Bills more than do the Ravens. The Ravens are he's just too inconsistent. You'll have games like this where they'll squeak it, then they go to Detroit and cream them. It's just it's too much of a roller coaster for me to trust the Ravens over the Bills.
We got to hear Zach J tuning in here. Looks like he might be a Lions fan. We will be talking Monday night soon against my Raiders. Hopefully you guys will be a little kind to us and keep us in the game.
Is porn star Jimmy going to make an appearance?
Well, I don't know. We'll see if his back is not thrown out enough. We'll see if he had a wild weekend. See if we can keep him in the game here. Zach, appreciate you tuning in here on Talk of the Gridiron. We're reaching an hour here. Usually, folks, we're done at this point, but like Jimmy and I have always said, you get the comments coming in, we'll go as long as we need to. We're both radio guys in that sense. We'll talk what we need to with it. And this is NFL Week 8. This is mid-season. The Bengals are coming off a big win. These guys are fired up. That's why we're ready to go a little longer as well.
I've had enough of this franchise. I'm done.
We're done with it. Where Brian is thrown in the tank. Shanahan's career's over.
I can't deal with another 6 years of Jimmy. I can't deal with it. I can't.
Purdy, pick it up. I don't want my friend to keep out every week. I need to keep him alive. I need to keep him alive here. All right, so that's the Ravens Bills part of it. Prescott gets the 3 touchdowns. Rams go over. They crush the Cowboys crush the Rams here. Not much I want to get into that game with it. We talked about Bryce Young outdueling them. Oh yeah, gentlemen, Derek Carr does have a tough week. Beats the Saints, beats the Colts here, 38-27. They kind of bounce back, have a little bit of life in there with it. How are we feeling? I didn't have it as news and notes here as my stuff, but I want to get your thoughts. Eagles end up beating the Commanders. Jimmy, are you worried about this Hurts injury a little bit with the leg? He only ran for 7 yards, or does this make it more impressive that they win? He gets A.J. Brown involved with the again, was it 6 straight games with 125 yards, looking like a just absolute monster.
If they can make it so that he gets healthy by the end of the season going into the playoffs, then fine. But if it's something that lingers through there, then it becomes more of a worrisome thing. But if he's able to just start throwing it to A.J. Brown, actually start getting the passing game going more, and use those running backs that they have behind that offensive line, I think that they could still be successful even if he is a little bit less than 100%. So they're a good enough team right now that I don't really care about the injury too much. Yeah,
and that Jordan, you feel the same way?
50-50. Yeah, I think they'll figure it out in the short term, but if his legs don't return for the playoffs, I think it's going to be a one and done exit.
Ooh, hey, that's calling. If you're right, because they do rely a lot on his running to set up a lot of the offensive passing. Like that is part of their game. So without him be able to move around, and Brian, I know you would love to hear that if he couldn't move around, the Niners could just sit back and try to rush him. That would be giving you guys
just keep hitting that leg real hard, guys. Just keep
hit that leg just like they hit Purdy's hard last year. This is my favorite part of the show. What teams can we cross off the list here? Terrell, if you're out there, you said the Vikings. They're now 4-4. I can't cross them off the list. I'm telling you, this has to be ones that we are. The fork is in these. We can't.
I think we got to do the Packers.
Are the Packers dead? Are we officially calling them dead?
Yeah,
the Packers are done. Put a fork in them. Jordan, Jimmy, you guys agree? I don't know. Let me look. Where are we at with the Packers? We're sitting in third place.
They're
2-5, Brian.
2-5.
I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like I can put them dead yet. I feel like that's still in the fight here. I feel like they're still there with it. What do you guys? Are we willing to put them as dead? Are they dead a little bit? That's probably the only team that's worth thinking about.
I think the Broncos will be dead by the end of the deadline tomorrow.
Well, we have the Broncos dead already. We have them in here. We have the Patriots, Broncos, Giants, Cardinals, Bears, Panthers. Those are the teams I think are dead. Those are the ones I like because I'm talking like I said, I have to be, if I'm putting money on it, they got to be out of it. So
I say add them to the graveyard. Put them in the graveyard.
Add the Packers to the graveyard.
They look lackluster. The lack of weapons on the outside are finally catching up. Aaron Rodgers at 2-5. I say bring it back from the grave, but Jordan Love just too much inexperience, too much inconsistency. I say their season's done. They might play spoiler, depending on if a team like the Vikings or something make a run late in the season, depending on the schedule, they might spoil somebody. But as for their season, I think it's done.
I added to the list here. We got a few others that they want us to consider. We got Tennessee, Green Bay. We already mentioned Green Bay, Tennessee. I don't know. They got Levi's now. Is Levi's with the deep ball? We can't eliminate him yet. Chargers. They got the softie and the Bears tonight. They got the softball game, Jimmy. They got the game here. They get back on winning track. Raiders. You're pathetic. Just a reminder. Washington. Should we add the Commanders to the list? I can't do that yet. There's a Commanders team that gets the 7th seed every year. I can't get them out. The Giants, they're definitely on it.
Let's see what they do on a Tuesday, because I know there's a lot of unhappy players ready to leave.
What about the Steelers? I have to add the Steelers. He says add the Steelers. Do I kill the Steelers, Jordan and Jimmy? Do I kill them? Do we add them there?
I've been an AFC North fan my whole life. You can't kill
Too hard. Too hard to kill.
Too hard. No way you kill them.
Have we added the Cards yet? Because we got to add the Cards.
The Cards are definitely on this list. Yeah, they're on there. We got, like I said, we added the Packers. So we're killing the Patriots, Broncos, Giants, Cardinals, Bears, Panthers, Packers. None of these teams I want you to make the playoffs now. This is like survival football. We called you out early. We don't want you making it there with it. All right. Who you got? Monday Night Football. Raiders, Lions. Spread is 7.5 Lions. Give me both. Jordan, you go first.
Give me Detroit all day. You know, I said this morning on the Sunday morning tailgate podcast. I think Detroit comes out angry. I think there's no better team to get your groove back on in Las Vegas. The front office is a mess. The head coach is a mess. Players are speaking out, wanting to be traded. Other players are just talking about their own legacy. Write this game off. It's Detroit all day.
We got 31-20 Raiders with it. That would cover the spread as well. Johnson, what do you got? Lions, Raiders. I mean, okay, can I say this real quick? Raiders, if you're going to lose, start Aiden O'Connell, not the 15-year veteran that we already know sucks. All right, just a little hint. This is a little hint, little coaching tip. Brian, who do you got?
I'd say the Lions win 34-10, and Jimmy throws 3 picks.
You son of a! At least he had a good night last night. Jimmy, we go to the other Jimmy. He's a little bit more productive. What do we got, Jimmy? What do you got?
I picked the Lions on our show. I'm sticking with the Lions. I don't know if it'll be 34-10, but I think 2 touchdowns is easy. And I don't know who's going to be a quarterback, but that is the coaching. It's the organization. It's the fact that they're on the road and Detroit needs to bounce back. They're not looking over the Raiders anymore because they need to make sure that they win this game. So I say Detroit.
It's pathetic. Like I said, the Raiders are the worst franchise in the history of I want to see O'Connell. It has to be O'Connell. Nobody wants to see Hoyer, who was drafted the same year as Mark Sanchez. Nobody wants to see that. It's over. Nobody wants to see him playing anymore. If we lose, give me the rookie. Let's lose with him a little bit. Could we have asked for a worse situation where the Lions just get embarrassed the other week too, and they're going to be super fired up on national TV? You cannot get. Remember, Jimmy, we said that Brian Jordan last week. You cannot get embarrassed like you did last week against the Ravens, and then come back and lose to the Raiders at home on Monday night. That's unacceptable if you're a real team. Like that cannot happen. I'm sorry if the Lions lose tomorrow, they drop massively in how I feel about them. I feel totally different about the Lions if they lose to the Raiders tomorrow, completely. So everybody, I'm assuming feels the same way if that's the case with it. No one wants to see Jimmy. He's got you, Jimmy, Brian, the porn star. We got him on there. He had a good night, like we said. Jimmy is starting. Yep, he is back.
They did make a comment on Facebook. They said this is where it's coming with the Raiders. They're guessing who Jimmy's girlfriend is right now.
The week-by-week basis there. You never know what you're going to get. Real quick standings update. Dolphins lead 6-2 in the AFC West. We got the Ravens leading the North. Jaguars leading the South. Behind the Texans looking they're going to take that division later. The Chiefs. Raiders somehow in second place. I don't know how that. Broncos now making a little push as well. 3-5. Chiefs are going to run away with that. Eagles, they're leading the East as we know. Lions leading the North. Falcons, as mid a division as we get, the NFC South there, 4-4. Seahawks surprisingly leading the NFC West there, 5-2. So that's what you look like there, gentlemen. As we get into that, hey Jimmy, game ball week 8. Who do you got for game ball this week? Who gets your game ball this week?
Game ball goes to Joe Burrow. I mean, he led the offense to the performance that we needed to see. He got the win in a tough place. That was the first time that they've won in 11 tries. Not the first time. First time that the San Francisco 49ers have lost in 11 tries at Levi Stadium. So big game for him, and that was what we needed to see. So my game ball goes to Burrow.
He was awesome this week with it. He really was. That first half, like Brian, you as soon as you saw that first half, you're like probably, oh crap. Or a deep crap this game. Jordan, who do you got for game ball? It can't be Joe Burrow, sorry. Could be anybody.
I got Russell Wilson. I mean, big upset, helping out the whole AFC, opening up the division. Played amazing, threw multiple touchdowns, limited on turnovers. Wow. So my game ball is Russell Wilson. He is the man right now.
Sierra, little part, probably should get 2%. Nothing. She'll probably make herself 2%.
Never. She's such an we see her around town. She was at the lacrosse games for the PLL here in Denver. She doesn't do anything beneficial. Like, no
game ball. So we got Burrow. We got over here Jordan. Brian, who you got for game ball this week?
I'm gonna go the Bengals defense. They made Purdy look like Jimmy Garoppolo out there.
Oh, nothing could be more insulting than that with it. Nothing could be more insulting. I got Will to throw Levi's. You throw 4 touchdowns on and you get 3 of them, all of them deep balls there with it. Mr. Primetime's got Joe Burrow as well here for his game ball. I got to go Will Levi's there with it. Rookie start. You give me that. I also had the Broncos down 3 touchdowns. Also, Justin Simmons, he had 2 takeaways in this game as well. And hands of Mahomes, just a crazy stat. His first AFC West road loss. Just insane that is an actual stat with a human being this long in the league in his division. Jimmy, that is absolute ownage of a division. Me and Nico have felt that pain for a while now, folks. Week 9, quick look ahead to the schedule here. We'll call it a show. Gentlemen, in Germany, we got Miami at Kansas City next week at 6:30. That could be a beauty. And Mahomes having to travel after being sick this week all cross country. I'll tell you this. If I was sick, I just want to stay home for 5 days. I don't want to do anything like go to Germany. I'm just being honest with you. So real quick on that game, that kind of feels like a big game. Jimmy, real quick on that game.
That's good. I think that the game is going to be very lackluster, but I do think that we're going to see a blitz strategy from Miami, and the Dolphins will walk away. Hence, Chiefs 2 losses in a row.
Guys, good luck matching that one with it on it. Jordan, who do you got for it?
Give me 31-28 Miami. I think Miami wins in a shootout.
We got Lamar is 17-1 versus the NFC. That is a crazy stat. That is an absolute crazy stat. If you're 17-1 against any team, thanks for probably that one, Mr. Primetime. Brian, real quick, who you got with that game?
Yeah, I just feel like Miami's got to show they can beat a legit contender. So I got to go with Miami.
Happened in Germany. Kansas City, they're maybe on a little notice this week. I got the schedule up here. Primetime games, Tennessee at Pittsburgh Thursday night. We'll see if Levi's can do it against in Pittsburgh. You throw 4 touchdowns in Pittsburgh. I know these Bengal fans are now saying, "Oh, we're raising a little bit the bid." I know if it's not even your grandfather's Steelers, this is still a big win there if they end up getting that for a big time matchup there. So that's a look ahead on the schedule there with it. That would be a big primetime game. Buffalo at Cincinnati next Sunday, Brian. Buffalo at Cincinnati, the Chris Collinsworth fighting Bengals. I would love to get these 2 guys on live. Hopefully that will be the case next Sunday when we get a little Bengals-Bills action. That is a big game, gentlemen. Come on, Jordan. That's got to be a big one.
It's a huge one.
Should be no action with the way the Bills have looked so far.
That should be okay. Dallas at Philadelphia. That excite anybody? That kind of get anybody? Chris versus my Raider. I mean, Dallas, Philadelphia that's not the worst game. Or Seattle at Baltimore. That's not a bad game either. So those are probably your best games. And then the Chargers again, they get the prime time. New York, Brian, at the Jets. They get the Jets on prime time. Zach Wilson gets the prime time game. So that's what we're looking like there next week on prime time with it. So that's a little ahead to our schedule next week. I am looking forward to that game, though, Sunday night, gentlemen. That will be that's kind of right there with it. Buffalo at Cincinnati. That's a beauty looking right at that game. So I look forward to that one this week with it. The only bad of the week I had, and I'm sure maybe you guys feel the same way here real quick. Bengals win in Buffalo. Mr. Primetime feeling confident. I do like that one. Philly crushes Dallas. Dallas does feel like they never show up in big games. So I'm not going to be totally shocked if that's the case there with it. The bad for the week. It just felt like there was a ton of injuries today. That was the only thing I would say this week. Just felt like a lot of guys went down this week with it. Doesn't always mean they're the best players, but I feel like a lot of good players went down too this week. Guys, with that said,
Francisco
Thursday night games are
49ers,
showing its head on injuries.
just put them on the bad because
you guys are on the bad week too, Brian.
I kind of wish we were on Hard Knocks, man, because I want to know who's going to get chewed the fuck out this week.
Johnson, I love it. And the thing I appreciate you coming on this week is that you took it this week as a Niners fan. I hope these Bengals fans.
Where's Tyler? Where the hell are you?
Tyler, get on here. Where's the other two? You gotta take it. Jimmy, you gotta respect Brian for coming on here.
I was prepared to go the other way and pay out my end of the debt. I wasn't gonna wear Brock Purdy's face on my face, but I would have said whatever I needed to say to finish up this bet.
I really wanted you to say he looks real pretty good.
That's right. We'll get it. Instead, we'll get Burrows, your dad.
There was no Brock and roll today, and nobody's purdying all night.
That was pretty high. JB, I know you guys got far into the bench tomorrow, then it sounds like.
Yeah, we're going to be – I don't know if it's going to be live, but we'll be doing a Halloween special this weekend, and then we're also doing Victory Monday and picks for Week 9 of the NFL season, so we'll have all that coming out this week.
Dude, you guys had an awesome podcast. The last two I've been listening to them. They were great. You guys were funny on it. The Halloween one was great. The Nuggets one was great with all that stuff. It was fantastic. the Purdy. Oh, the Purdy is over in San Francisco. Oh, a little Brian's starting to feel a little bit of that as well right now with it. So I know he's starting to get that energy.
Like my question would be if it really fell off the rails and he didn't do good the whole season, like who do you think would take the heat for this if they just even make the playoffs?
It has to be Shanahan at this point.
Yeah.
If you don't make it. Hey, is Logan listening? Mr. Pride Time. Shout out to Logan Stone. D-backs will win the World Series. Yes, I am a big baseball guy. 7th inning stretch tomorrow. Doing a live stream Wednesday. Doing a live stream from my house. I'll have all 3 of my kids in the house. My wife will be away. Good luck to me.
My buddy's a Rangers fan, so I got to vote for the Rangers.
Out of that with it. Jordan, it's been awesome having you on the last 2 weeks, man. Appreciate you coming on. He held down the fort.
It's been a pleasure. I appreciate you for having me on here. So.
And like I said, you're invited every week. I love to have you on. You bring a great kind of insight to the game as well. So I appreciate that. For Brian, the main man Johnson, who suffered a tough Sunday loss today, folks. Let's be praying for him this week. For Jordan Maxon, the Bengals fan, the excitement, the energy, the love, the passion he brings to this. So Jordan, I appreciate that. For Jimmy Pilato, the teacher out of Denver, who got the big win this week, should be feeling great.
We're only missing Chris Collinsworth.
Only Christopher Collinsworth in the back. And for me, a Raiders fan, not feeling very good this week headed to it. Great show. See you soon, Mr. Primetime. I'm going to end it with this. This show has been one of the better ones. Mr. Primetime, I thank you for coming in. Zach J, I appreciate you coming in. CP3 from New York Sports, I appreciate you coming in. Out of your Falcon mind, I appreciate you coming in. Thank you for making this a great show this week. We went a little longer than ever, and we will do that when you guys come in and comment on the show. Jimmy Pilato, it's good to have you back, my friend. I look forward to next week, talking the Gridiron Week 9. Jordan, Brian, see you next week. Peace.
Hey, this is Brandon, CEO of the Variety Sports Network. Thank you again for watching tonight's show. Best way you can support us is by hitting that subscribe button, that like button, and hitting the notification so you don't miss out on the next show right here on the Variety Sports Network.